Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. This is part 4 of the die-filer series. More of a catch-up really. This is being recorded towards the end of July, and we've just come out in the UK from a unprecedented heat wave, and it's been far too hot to be out here in the workshop. And just after the end of the heat wave, my wife had a bit of a tumble and badly sprained her ankle, and I've been playing nursemaid for a couple of days, if not more. So very little has been done in the workshop, but what little I have been able to do, I'll do a bit of a video catch up, and hopefully we'll get back on track with the main build. Anyway, I'll take you over to the workshop bench and see what I've been up to. As you recall, this is being made from a variety of materials, a majority of which is found in my spares box or scrap bin. That is apart from the acrylic which I've used for the base, the top, and the various mountings here. I've finished the columns, not quite to the original design. What I did was I drilled and tapped both ends and then screwed some steel studding in, cut them off and faced them to a length of 8mm so that they don't come through, and that will fit like that on the base. The main drive pulley will fit through these mountings, pretty tight fit through the bearings, but they will go. I don't know whether you can see there. Let me move this around. Tell you what, I'll take that off, that'll be even better. So these two mountings for the spindle fit on there. Naturally the spindle will fit through the bearings. The motor just clears with this cover on. Again, the small pulley was out of the spares box. I had to turn off the bush on the end, only to find out that the central hole was too big for the motor spindle, so that had to be bored out and sleeved, and a tiny little grub screw goes in there to provide the drive. That fits in those two holes, or on those two holes there, and hopefully the pulley will line up. Obviously there's a bit of forwardy backwardy motion for lining up. And let's see, what else have I got to do? Yeah, I'm going to this afternoon I'm going to just cut the metal for the ram slide, and that will fit over here. Of course this is upside down, so I can't no, for some reason I haven't got the holes drilled for that. Right, well that's going to have to be done again. I'll have to set that up in the milling machine and set an XY coordinate and drill the mounting holes for the ram slide, and that's going to go somewhere in that area, and I'm going to locate that with 5mm dowel pins top and bottom rather than drill through and no, in fact I think I'll just locate it in the top I've got the drill holes drilled here, and whether they'll show up. There we are. I'll get the light in the right place. Those two holes, 5mm, two dowels in there to locate it at the top, and I'll drill through counterbore here to take some more screws of the modified head type that I've got here. So more than enough to be getting on with, but most of it's pretty regular stuff. Certain amount of metal has already been cut to size. It's got to be trimmed. I've got to take a channel out of the middle here to form the pieces that go on the wheel here. They're a bit on the long side. Again, they've got to be trimmed down and mounted. That will take the sort of more or less a T-bar in there, the sliding T-bar that will go in the ram arm, and yeah, I'll get on with that, and I'll bring you back when all the boring bits of metal churnery have been taken place. Right, well, to be honest, I've been in a bit of a quandary about what to film for this part. Most of it is pretty boring, repetitive stuff. So what I've done, what I'm about to continue with, I should say, is the two brass bearing carriers which slide along the ram activating arm. I've already drilled out the centre, and I made a recess halfway through, 2.5mm for the ball bearing, using it's a 1/2 inch cutter. Then I use the boring head just to take a smidge out, to take it out to the 13mm recess for the half the bearing. These two then clamp together, and I've now got them in the mill with a bolt through the centre. The bearing is in there, and that acts as a register for the two halves. I'll bring you in a bit closer so you can can't do it without too much wibbly wobbly. There we are. Yeah, the two halves are bolted together with a 6mm bolt through the bearing, which is sandwiched between these two. I'm just about to take the readings on the DRO so that I can centre up I'm going to use a 4mm end mill to put a recess in the centre, and then I'll go either side by 1/2mm to take it out to 5mm, flip it around and do the same on the opposite side. After that, I'll be drilling the 4 holes in the you're not seeing what I'm seeing, the 4 holes here, which will be used to screw the two halves together. One side will be tapped, the other side will be a clearance hole for 3mm countersunk screws, and also countersunk, of course. And while I was getting prepared to do those, I've also done the two pieces of where are we? There we go. Come out on the zoom, and then we might be able to see more what I'm talking about. This is in effect the ball wheel, and these two clamps fit on it, I can pick one up without dropping the screws out of it. And these are, well, there goes one screw. These are L section, milled from square, obviously. Well, not obviously, but they are milled from square, and they fit on the ball wheel like that to form a channel into which the sliding bolt sits, so that you can alter the stroke. They've been done. I've recessed the bolts, and I had to turn the heads down on these screws just fractionally. I'll put a couple of stills up to show how I held those in the lathe using a fixture which I'd used previously on another job. Right, so I'll get on with doing this further milling. I'll take a little bit of footage of it, but you don't want to see me chuntering up and down with a mill, gouging great lumps of brass out. I'll bring you back in a minute when there's something interesting going on. Well, I thought I'd try a little experiment. I've got my telephone set up to look at the DRO, and I'm going to use the center finder, or the edge finder I should say, to get to the center of this section of brass. So let's wind up the mill. And there we go, winding in the Y until the edge finder kicks off. Now I'm getting close, and there she goes. Set the Y to 0, wind it back out, come back in just to double check. Yes, it does. 5 microns, I'm not going to quibble about that. Wind it over to the other side and down. You've all seen this done dozens of times, I'm sure. Wind it back in. These two pieces of brass are 5mm each, and the spigot on the end of the edge finder is 4mm, so we should be something of the order of 14mm on the y-axis as we come in, counting down 14.1. Getting close, getting even closer, and kicking off. They're obviously not quite 5mm wide. So there we are. That's I'll take it out and back in again just to double check. 13.65 I think it was, wasn't it? I need 4 hands and 3 eyes. There we go, that'll do. Now we'll select Y and the half. is now the centre of the spindle, aligned with the midpoint of these two pieces of brass. Well, I hope you found that as thrilling as I did, and I'll whack a 4mm end mill up the spout and get scraping. Okay, well, I did go away and I did fiddle around, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know what went wrong, but I think I've now retrieved the situation and we're back on track. Let's get that out of the way and see what we've ended up with. This side is where are we? Can't get it in focus. Just a tad over 2.5. And that one is, I've got it on zoom, that's why I can't get it in there. And that is 2.5, so there's a little bit of wriggle room in there, but not much. I found out what was happening was the cutter wasn't cutting right down to the bottom of the groove, so it was sort of coming down in a coming down and then sort of moving out, as it were, giving a false reading. But I think I'm back to square one now. So that's that one done. I'll just deburr it, take it out, deburr it, flip it over, and I'm going to re-zero it. And what I think I will probably do is, rather than find the centre on the workpiece, go between the two jaws here and do it there. Just to draw this to a conclusion, it turns out that these pieces of 5mm brass aren't in fact 5mm. Now, I don't want to take it all apart because I haven't marked it, the orientation, but you can see, well, I'll take that out there. That's how the two halves are registered together. Let's put that back before I lose the registration. There we go. I'll just pop a centre mark on these two faces here so that I know which way they are aligned. These are now .5 wide. There's a burr on that one. 2.5. And unfortunately the bit in the middle is 5mm. Blow me down. I don't know how that's worked out. Oh dear. 5mm. I did notice when I was milling that there was a certain amount of deflection on the 4mm cutter, which would account for the little bit at the bottom of the cut. But there we go. Mystery solved. Well, as you can see, we're back on the bench, and this is turning into a decidedly bitzer project. Bits of this, bits of that, and mixed materials. So I've decided to cut this video, well, not short because it's been dragging on a bit, but I'm going to stop here. I've been delayed by my wife's unfortunate accident and having to nursemaid, but also deliveries of things like these tiny wee countersunk screws for the various bits and bobs. And well, last week of course I had to wait for a delivery of metal, and the design is evolving. Originally, if you recall, this was the design of the RAM link, and I decided to change the cutout in the middle where the slider that we've been machining fits, to make it easier to machine. I was trying to work out how I was going to cut these rebates on the end here, and I thought, well, boring head's the obvious way to go. But that was going to be tricky, so I redrew the RAM and changed the dimensions very slightly so that I can now mill it out with end mills, this inner one being a 5 mil radius and the outer one a 16 mil, 8 mil diameter, no, get it right John, 8 mil radius corner, simply because I've got 10 mil and 16 mil end mills, and it's just a matter of, well, drilling out the centres I suppose, and then joining up the dots. When it's finished, flipping it over and doing the same thing again. So that's what I'm going to be doing next, I think, once I've tidied up one or two loose ends. And to that end I've cut the piece of material. Unfortunately I cut it to this length and not that length. So yesterday I reordered the metal, and that's, well, that was Friday. Not going to be posted off till Monday. It's coming Royal Mail, so probably Wednesday at the earliest next week, so that's going to delay me by almost a week, but it will give me a chance to get on and finish all the other little incidental bits and bobs, like drilling the mounting holes for the slider retaining brackets. And I may even make a start on the RAM slide and the RAM itself, for which I have the material and I haven't cut it too short. So that's about it for this little video, and I'll try to get things a little more organised for the next one. And as ever, if you have been, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.